What is going on, my beautiful LARPers and LARPettes? Have you ever wanted to prestige your Beretta APX or APX A1 or APX full size or tacticals? I don't even know how many models of the APXs are there. But if you have an APX and don't see a lot of aftermarket support, here's your video. So the Beretta APX, let me go over all the details on this one here because this one is a little bit more unique compared to your stock APXs, right? But before I get into all that, what is my relationship with the company that did all this work? Blackbeard Customs is a very good friend of mine. I just want to highlight some of his work that he's done. Well, basically all the work that he's done on this Beretta here. So thank you to Blackbeard's Customs for getting this work done for me. So let's start off with the first thing that really pops, right? Which is the color. I don't think you can really appreciate this colorway in my room here, but this color is called the Ancient Mariner, I believe is what he calls it on his website. And it has a blue, like greenish tint to it. I guess what he's trying to accomplish here is like having a, what is it, like when copper kind of rusts, right? When it oxidizes, it turns to like this bluish green color. The color really pops, and who would want to even have a gun that even has any sort of blue in it? Well, I've been talking about prestiging, right? If you want to prestige your gun, those of you oldie boomers out there that don't know what prestiging the gun is when you're on Call of Duty and you're leveling up and you can get certain skins for your gun, change the color on them, and there's a certain point in the game where you get to like bluish color prestige levels, right? I think it was called like the blue tiger stripe on like Call of Duty Black Ops 2. In a world of golden guns and diamond infused guns, and I don't even know, I haven't even played any of the new Call of Duties, but I think they're pretty wild now. I wouldn't even know what to choose. But back in the plain old days, you used to have like blue tiger stripe type guns, and I think this one, it kind of resembles it, right? Even though it looks like a little too much, I really appreciate this color, and I like it so much. I mean, my first Beretta, I don't know if you've ever seen my Beretta Blackbeards version. You might have, but I have this same exact colorway on that one. Let me bring it up for you really quick. So this Beretta here, you can see very similar colorway. You can probably see that it has a little bit more gray to it, but I like this color. I really do for some reason. But the next thing that's really going to pop out at you is the serrations on the slide. It has like this waffle design, I guess. I don't really know what to call it. The whole gun is called the Argonaut. If you want to get this done to your existing gun, you just go on there and say you want like the Argonaut package for your APX. But if you want to buy the full gun, you just go ahead and purchase the Argonaut itself. And I think this serrations here look pretty slick. May not be everybody's cup of tea, but they are actually pretty damn functional. And I do like the way that it goes all the way through that slide there. So that way, if I do end up slipping for any reason, I can still get a good grip on it. I could even kind of rack it with my hand there on the side of that slide. But pretty damn aggressive on those slide serrations. Now the next thing you're going to see is the ports on the barrel and that cutout on the slide there. So you're going to see three basically ports on the inside of that barrel. He calls these the cannonball volley ports, I believe. And these actually do mitigate quite a bit of recoil. I didn't really think I was going to notice anything on this gun, but I do feel this is a hell of a lot softer than a stock APX, right? Porting out your gun is all the rage right now, from Monsoon Tactical Chunk ports to Vulcan Machine Works. I forgot the name of their ports, but these volleyball port or these cannonball volley ports do a heck of a job to mitigate some of that recoil, as do the other companies out there. I think having a ported gun definitely does a significant amount when you have larger guns. On the little ones, I can't really tell so much. But as you can see, these have a pretty cool design. So you got a little, I guess, jet right there in the middle, but then you got like this V shape here. So when the gases come out, they can kind of shoot out to the sides a little bit. And then they have a spot to escape there through the top. The downside to having ports on a gun, especially like this close to the front sight, is you're going to basically carbon foul up that front sight. These sights are from the factory, from Beretta, but if you can see here, if I can focus it, the two very bright white rear sights and a not so bright front sight. It's like essentially a blacked out front sight. That's because when I was shooting it, I shot like about 800 rounds or so, 900 rounds or so out of this thing so far, and that is already carbon fouled in the front. So I can't really pick up a front sight quick enough with that all built up like that with carbon. Maybe if I put a fiber optic front sight on there, I might see a little bit of hint of that fiber. But yeah, as of now, that front sight does get fouled up pretty damn fast with that carbon buildup. But hey, that's the name of the game when you're kind of porting out your guns, right? So moving on to the trigger. This is by Overwatch Precision. It's a flat face aluminum trigger. And Blackbeard Customs did inform me that he also does trigger jobs for this thing. This one here, he told me that it was sitting around 8 pounds stock, and he dropped it down to 4 pounds. I didn't really ask him what he does to the trigger itself, but I'm assuming he's polishing up some internals and possibly adding some lighter springs in there. I don't know, but it's definitely a lot better than stock. Let me see if I can just go ahead and show you here. So here's a reset. Right there. Back wall. Show you again. Reset. Wall. So this trigger does feel a lot nicer than it did stock, but I still can't really get on it fast enough. I think I prefer my triggers like around 3 pounds or something like that. Still a little too heavy for me, but I mean, it's way better than the stock version. Now the last thing you're going to notice on this is the backstrap. This is called the Sila backstrap. Again, going with that pirate theme name, right? So the Sila backstrap is actually 3D printed, and it's just basically you just take your original backstrap off and slap this guy in, and you have this, like, he calls it like a mermaid texturing. So going downwards, it's very smooth and slick, but going upwards is where it does all the grabbing, right? So this is also an option if you have a stock APX that you want to send to him and just go ahead and snag that backstrap. Or if you don't want to send your gun in, you could just buy that backstrap directly from his website. I believe it's like 30 bucks or something like that. So if you want something a little bit different to set off your gun, you got a 3D printed backstrap right there. Now, that pretty much does it for all the features on this gun right here in front of me. You have the stock sights, you have a stock optic cut, and then you have the stock frame. But one of the highlights that I don't have on here is the frame that he actually has created that I haven't really seen any APX frames out there. He actually made a Argonaut aluminum frame for the Beretta APX. I don't really know why these haven't taken off like everything else. So when the SIG P320 came out, you know, you had the FCU, you can take that out and slap it in a frame, and this FCU is the actual serialized part. Then you got the Echelon that came out, and that became really popular, and everybody's making frames from. But this gun here, the APX style gun, has been around for a very long time, and I don't really see a whole lot of aftermarket support for frames or little chassis or something like that. So Blackbeards took it upon himself to make a aluminum frame for the APX, and I believe he's calling that the Argonaut frame as well. So the frame itself has a couple details within it, and I'm going to show you guys some pictures somewhere around this screen here so that way you can get a little bit more details on as much as I can, I guess. So on the Argonaut metal frame, he's staying with the same theme of Beretta's 92 series, right? So if you're looking at the front of the frame here, and I'm going to bring in a Beretta to actually give you a more easier detailed look at that frame. So the front of it is going to look very similar to this 92X here. So you're going to look at the 1913 rail, looks very similar. You got like 3 slots on the front of it. Then you have this like beveled cutout right here. Some of you that like to hold your gun up front like this, it's just a little bit more comfortable, but you have it rounded off at the front, and you also have a rounded out trigger guard on that metal frame. I think this Beretta frame here with that front end is one of the more comfortable metal frames on all of my Berettas. I have the 92A1 and the 92... I forgot the other ones, but basically the other railed guns that don't have this curvature on the trigger and straight edges here are not as comfortable feeling as this one here. And I'm very glad that he went with that on the Argonaut metal frame for the APX. As you can see, that's going to be the big difference that you're going from on this one. You got a lot of straight edges on this guy. So if you are into comfort on holding the front of that gun, you're going to have a lot more ergonomics on that. That's the word I was looking for. And also on that frame, you're going to get the same exact texturing that you do on this Sila backstrap. So like that mermaid scale style of texturing right here, you're going to see it all around that backstrap or that frame itself. And you're also going to get a little bit of that same mermaid scale texturing on the front of that there. And he also informed me that there's a little bit more of a flared magwell compared to this one here, which makes sense, right? You want to have a little bit more of a flared magwell to make those reloads easier. And also on a metal gun, you don't really want to add a whole lot more bulk to it, so why not add it into the frame itself? And it's a one-piece frame as well, so you can't put backstraps on it. It's just one whole aluminum frame piece. To me, I would have probably preferred to have backstraps on that metal frame, just because I would have wanted to add like maybe some brass grips or some inserts or something on it to make it a little bit more weighted down. But overall, I don't really see a whole lot of people making APX accessories. So anything that comes out for the APX, I'm totally for. That pretty much does it for the APX prestiged gun here in front of me. Do you have an APX at home that you were kind of just letting sit in the back of the safe, and now you see this video and it's kind of getting your mind going on, hey, maybe I should send it in to him, or maybe I should get some backstraps, or maybe I should just buy that aluminum frame that he came out with just to give myself a little bit of a different look on the APX itself. I don't really see a whole lot of people rocking this gun. I feel like it's a little bit more like underappreciated, I guess. Just because it is a gun that has an FCU, that I feel like there can be a lot more market for accessories on this. I'm glad there's triggers for it. I'm glad there's a frame now, but I would like to see like some chassis flux PDW type thing for the APX. But what do you guys think? Would you rock something like this and prestige your gun, or would you just like to keep it plain and simple? Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Love you all. Appreciate you all. Catch you in the next one.